The National Card Show in Nashville last weekend was awesome. I had two big trades and I picked up a monster signed Hall of Fame rookie card for my collection. That's the magic of working trades at a card show. And today I want to take you inside the National Card Show, what it is, where it is, some of the things to look out for, and then how I approached it. Two of the trades that I made, and again, that signed Hall of Fame rookie card. And the best part is I did all of this without using any cash from my hobby budget. All right, let's jump in. So the National Card Show is a play on words. It's not national, the big one in Chicago this year, and it's often held out there, but it is in Nashville, and it has over 1,300 tables, and they do a great mix of vintage, modern, and TCG. Most of the TCG is in a third room. The front room, when you come in, is giant. It is mostly modern and vintage. The middle room in between is mostly sports cards with a little bit of TCG, and then that third room in the back is all TCG. So it helps you as a collector really understand where you should focus all of your time instead of, all of the cards being mixed up. So it just makes it a lot nicer. Now, this show is a big regional show, happens 3 times a year. This year, it's in February, June, and October. So I went to the February show, had a couple big pickups there. And this time I made 2 big trades and 1 purchase with cash. But the cash was acquired from a couple small sales, and then the cash I acquired from my first big trade. So that was my mindset going in. Let me bring a binder of cards and see if I can use them to leverage up to something that I want for my personal collection. All right, so let's jump in and look at that first trade. Now, on paper, I kind of gave up more than I got in a sense. When I trade, I usually like to trade up and get the bigger card in the deal or get what I consider to be the best card. And in many cases, I kind of gave away 2 stronger cards to get 2 weaker cards, but I also came away with a lot of cash. And this was the key to my trade that day. So what did I give up? I gave up a signed 1969 Topps Reggie Jackson rookie card in a PSA 6 with a 10 auto and the Mr. October inscription. So that is a monster card. But the key here is that card, I obtained it from eBay at a stupid low price. I just had a ton of equity in it. Sometimes you come across an auction in eBay that just doesn't get enough visibility, and for some reason it just goes lower than it should. So that card I bought for probably about half of what it should have sold for based on other comps and other similar priced cards. In fact, I've seen some PSA 410 recently sold for more than the 610 that I got. So with that, I came into it thinking, okay, if I find the right trade, I will trade this card. Otherwise, I'm happy to keep it. I have a PSA 310 in my personal collection. So the option was keep the 610 and sell the 3, or keep the 3, sell the 10. And in this case, I really like that 6, but because I had such a good amount of equity in that card, I could trade that up and use that to acquire something I might not otherwise either be willing to spend the cash for or have the cash for. The second card I traded was a 1969 Topps Nolan Ryan PSA 310. Again, another signed card. A lot of people love that 1969 Topps Nolan Ryan, including myself. I love that one. But I had duplicates of this. I actually have a PSA 610 in my collection. That is a card that I acquired raw, sent off to the Nolan Ryan Foundation, got it signed, sent it to PSA, and got it back as a 610. So that PSA 310 was actually a duplicate for me, which made it expendable if I could find the right deal. And I included actually a third card in that deal. And the third card was a signed Cal Ripken Jr. Topps Future Stars card. It was in a Beckett slab with a 10 auto. Nice card, but again, another one I had duplicates of. So it was expendable in the right deal. So that's the kind of card that I like to either trade or sell if I can find the right option. Either one was fine on that card. So what did I get out of that deal? Well, I got a 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan rookie card. I'll give you a better picture of this on the screen. It's in a PSA 1, but what's nice about this PSA 1, it is well centered and has great eye appeal. The corners, edges, everything is really nice, but it has a pretty strong crease right across the front. Bad enough that it is a PSA 1, but It's a nice looking card, and I thought it would be a nice one to add to my collection. I like to get autographs, so what I will almost certainly do with that one is crack it out of the slab and send it to the Nolan Ryan Foundation to get his signature. That usually takes a few months. He charges $150 per autograph and $150 per inscription. So yes, there is a financial outlay there, but when it comes back, I like the ability to add a little bit of additional value to a card. So I'm looking at this not just as the acquisition of that one card, but what can I do to it that will increase the value? The other card I picked up was actually a very beautiful 1952 Bowman Bob Feller auto in a PSA 4 with an authentic auto. Again, I'll put a nicer photo of this up on the screen, but it's a beautiful card, and I really like Bob Feller. I love his story. World War II veteran, flamethrower. He was, one of the best pitchers of his era, the no-hitters, the major strikeouts in an era where pitchers weren't doing that. So tremendous card, beautiful auto, beautiful photo, not photo, but the artwork on those Bowman cards, just exceptional. So on paper, I gave up a lot more than I got back in cards, but the key to this trade was the cash. So I don't need to disclose numbers, but the cash was enough to pick up a monster signed Hall of Fame rookie card, and I'll get to that one in a second. Without me doing that trade, I would not have been able to pick up that second card. And when you look at the card that I got in return from the cash, and you look at that as kind of a 3-for-3 trade, I'm very happy with how it turned out. So how did that trade unfold? Well, I was talking to the dealer, looking at his cards, and I carry a binder with me to the show. I just keep it in my backpack, and I handed him the binder and asked if there was anything he was interested in. He immediately zeroed in on the 69 Topps Nolan Ryan. That's a very popular card, and the signed Reggie Jackson. Now, this dealer's from Southern California, where there's a huge Reggie Jackson market on top of, his national prominence. So that card was very, I think, appealing to him because of that. And I came back later and talked to him at the show, and he had already sold that Nolan Ryan card like within an hour, I think, of me trading it to him. So I think he was happy with the deal. I was happy with the deal. And that cash gave me that flexibility to make that later acquisition. Now, how did that trade unfold? Again, I showed him those cards. He asked what I was looking for them. He kind of looked up the comps a little bit. He also pulled out the Ripken because he felt like that was a card he could move at the show as well. So he pulled those three out. He asked me what I would be interested in if it was either trade or cash. I pulled out the Nolan Ryan rookie card and the signed Bob Feller card. And he said, well, how about we do this? I'll take these three cards, you take those two, and I'll give you some cash. So he suggested the trade. I was comfortable with it. So yeah, it was a great deal. Shook hands. And then I went on and walked the show for a bit. I sold a couple other small cards that I had. I don't want to say small. One of the cards I sold for $100, the other $200. And then I sold three more cards to another dealer for another $115. So added another $415 to my war chest, if you will. And those cards were cards I already had duplicates of, or were cards I didn't need for my collection. So again, that gave me a little more firepower going forward. After I did that, I did a second trade. Again, I traded a 1969 Topps Nolan Ryan auto in a PSA 310. I had two of those duplicates in my bag, and very quickly those cards were zeroed in on by the dealers. The other card that I traded to the dealer was a 1961 Topps Juan Marichal rookie card in a PSA 6, which is a very strong grade for that card. It had beautiful eye appeal, but again, that card was a duplicate. I actually have a PSA 610 in my autograph collection as well. This is one of the huge things I collect is signed Hall of Fame rookie cards. If I can't get a signed Hall of Fame rookie card, then sometimes I will try to fill that in with another card. So for example, Catfish Hunter, his rookie card is insanely expensive. You're looking at usually the $4,000 or $5,000 range. It's a high number, 1965 Topps. It's not extremely expensive by itself, but Catfish Hunter died at a relatively young age, and there aren't many copies of those floating around. So it's very expensive to try to get one. Willie Stargell, Tom Seaver, those are also high numbers that are very expensive cards to begin with, and there aren't many of them signed. So again, you're going to pay up a lot for those. Now, once you start getting, I'm focusing on rookie cards from 1960 and forward. autographed. If I can get them pre-1960, I will. If not, I'll try to substitute that with a playing days card. Tom Seaver and Catfish Hunter, for example, I have both of their second-year cards autographed, and those are also their first solo cards. So Catfish Hunter's rookie card is on a card with 4 players. Tom Seaver is on a card with 2 players. So I had their first solo card signed. Those are great cards in my collection. I will keep them as the centerpiece for that player, and they will represent them in my collection. Or if I get lucky one day and I'm able to acquire one of the rookie cards, I'll do that. So for guys that are pre-1960, if I can get a playing days, that's what I'll go with. So Juan Marichal, PSA 6 with a 10 auto is a great card in my collection. I traded that other one. Again, this was a dealer proposed trade. He looked through my binder. He pulled out the Juan Marichal and the 1969 Topps Nolan Ryan card. He wanted both of those. He had an ungraded 1968 Topps Milton Bradley Nolan Ryan rookie card. I thought it was a very clean card. It measured properly, had great centering, very nice corners, edges. It might grade a 3 if I'm lucky, a 4. I traded those 2 cards, and he also offered me 2 other cards in trade. So the 2 that I got were, well, I left the stickers on them, a 1974 Topps Nolan Ryan in an SGC 5, and then a 68 Topps Ernie Banks, again in an SGC 5. These aren't cards I specifically needed for my collection, but since he offered them to me as part of the deal, I just figured I would go ahead and accept them. And what I'll do is keep them in my binder for trade going forward. Or if I set up at a local show, I'll have those that I can trade or, sell on Facebook, something like that. So I am a collector. I wouldn't call myself a dealer. I've set up at 2 local shows, and I do buy, sell, trade on Facebook Marketplace and eBay and things like that. But I do this so I can fund my hobby. Yes, I do spend money out of pocket for cards, especially for something that's rare or really hard to come across. But mostly what I try to do is use my profits from my sales or trades to get into the cards that I really want to do. Now, the Milton Bradley card is a variant on the regular 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan. It's actually quite a bit more difficult to find. It was part of a Milton Bradley game. So that game included baseball cards, football cards, some other sporting cards and things like that. That was designed to be played with. So to find one in a decent condition is actually pretty challenging to do. It's also less common. So how do you tell the difference? The color on the back has a lighter color than the traditional Topps cards, and there's also a slight mark in the T on the, let me pull out the rookie card, where it says Rookie Stars. That T, there's a little black dot on it. I'll see if I can get a photo of one. Now, I've already sent this card off. I know it's only been a week since the show, but I mailed it off to the Nolan Ryan Foundation because I'd love to have a copy of that card in my Hall of Fame rookie autograph collection. So that will be one of the cards where I will have 2 versions in my Hall of Fame collection. But I think because they're so different and unique, it's kind of fun to do that every once in a while. Otherwise, I try to limit it to 1 per player, unless there's a real reason to have more than 1, because there are so many Hall of Famers that I don't have yet. So I want to be able to pick up as many different cards that I can. So that was a fun trade. Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub, solid player. Nolan Ryan, that 74 Topps card. I love the design of it. It's got him mid-pitch. And it also captures his 1973 season on the back with the stats. That was the year he broke Sandy Koufax's single season strikeout record. So pretty cool card there. Not super expensive, but they're nice, fun cards to have. All right. All of this leading to my big acquisition. So again, the first trade that I made, I traded a 1969 Topps Reggie Jackson and a 610 auto with the Mr. October inscription, a 1969 Topps PSA 3 Auto 10 Nolan Ryan card, and that 1982 Topps Cal Ripken Jr. card. And I got back the PSA 1 Nolan Ryan and the 52 Bowman Bob Feller PSA 4 Authentic Auto. That was a Freudian slip because the card that I purchased, my big acquisition, was a signed Bob Gibson rookie card. Now, this is a monster card. I didn't pay that $2,500 sticker value, but basically the cash that I got from that trade got me this card. So I traded the 69 Reggie rookie, the 69 Nolan Ryan, and the Cal Ripken rookie auto, and I ended up coming out with these 3 cards. I ended up giving another $50 in cash on top of it, but that was my trade. So when I look at this trade for those 3 cards I gave up, I'm very happy with it. Now, this Bob Gibson is miscut. It's in a PSA trading card label, which I don't like, but it is a unique card. It has a Bob Gibson first ballot Hall of Fame 81 inscription. Never seen that inscription before. That is a very tough card. I've been looking for a signed Bob Gibson card for over a year. There are nicer copies out there. Will this be my forever copy? I don't know. But I am very honored and blessed to have this card right now as part of my collection. Super excited to get that one. And yeah, I'm going to go from there. So that is how I got those cards. Again, I sold a few other cards while I was there. So 3 huge pickups, actually 4 huge cards that I picked up, and I didn't use a single dollar out of my hobby budget. In fact, I actually came back with a little extra cash, which is always nice. All right, so yeah, that's a recap of the cards I picked up at the National. So if you have the opportunity to go to the National Card Show in Nashville, it's a great show. Again, it's about 1,300 tables, hundreds of dealers, 3 different rooms, and it's really organized nicely with the separation of the sports and the TCG. Very family-friendly show, lots of trades, lots of activity, lots of big purchases. There were a couple other cards there that I tried to trade into, but I didn't have that opportunity. I was trying to trade into a signed Nolan Ryan rookie O-Pee-Chee card. Those are pretty tough. And I looked at a few other cards. I just didn't have the cash available to make that happen. And the cards I had enough trade value to get one of those, but the dealer wasn't very interested in those cards. So I would have had to gone around and shopped and sold a lot of stuff off, and it wasn't the right opportunity. I was also coming off of a surgery. That's why I've had a little break here. I had a sinus surgery. I was extremely fatigued. I was only about a week and a half after that. So after a few hours at the show, I was pretty much done. It is a 3-day show. I only went the first day, but I heard that the Saturday was rocking and rolling, tons and tons of people. That Sunday was Father's Day, so I just decided, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to take those off. The show will come back here in October. I'm sure there will be a lot of new dealers, a lot of new inventory. And I'm actually thinking about maybe buying a table or renting a table and setting up myself, because I do have a lot of duplicate cards I'd like to sell. And I think sometimes being at the shows, you have the opportunity for deals to come up to you. If I'm one of the guys walking around with a little binder full of cards, I've seen other guys doing the same. So that might be a good opportunity to have some cool cards walk up to me for potential trades or purchases. We'll see how that works. So I'm going to keep an open mind, and I might try that out. So if I do, it would certainly be the biggest show I've ever set up at. Kind of exciting, kind of nervous to spend that kind of money with, not knowing what the ROI would be, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. So, and that's why I do this, man. I love this hobby. It's so much fun. I want to share a couple other fun pickups I had. CIA Auctions had their auction ended, I think, a week or 2 ago, and I just got some of those cards back. One of them, I'm going to have to do a better picture. I'll just rip it out of the sleeve here, but got a nice 1987 Topps Mark McGwire card signed. Very cool one. It's got his old autograph on here. I'll put a better picture up on the screen. He does just kind of almost like an MG swoosh on his autograph, kind of ever since the mid to late 90s. I have one that I got in person during the home run chase back in 1998. Cool card. I sent that off to CGC and got it authenticated. It came back as a CGC 9 with a 10 auto, which is huge, especially for a card that I had from my childhood collection. Got it signed at a game. To have it not get messed up is really cool. I'll put a picture of both of these on the screen next to each other so you can see the difference of them and how the autograph looks. Probably won't keep both. I'll probably sell this one, but it was such a good deal that it will allow me to pull a little bit of money out of that, make a little bit, give somebody else a card that they need. Sometimes that's what I have to do to fund my collection. I don't want to do that all the time. I like to buy cards that I want to keep for myself, and that's what I do. But sometimes you find a deal that's too good to pass up, and so you want to do that. The other card I picked up was actually another Bob Feller. I wasn't necessarily looking for one. I'm not trying to do a career run or anything, but this was a beautiful card. I love the photo. This is a 1954 Bowman auto CGC 5 with an auto 10. Again, gorgeous card. I'll put a better photo up on the screen. But I just love these vintage cards. Signed in Sharpie is fine. Signed in ballpoint is fine. Whatever is best for the card. In this case, this is a gorgeous autograph on a beautiful card. Not a lot of snow on the surface. Actually, none that I can see. So just a beautiful card. It's just a little bit off center. Other than that, it is just a gorgeous card. So I love these vintage autographs. A Bob Feller rookie card is probably not in the cards for me. So I have to look at which vintage playing days auto can I have for him that will work for my collection. Right now, that's actually a 1953 Topps is the one I have in my collection. It's probably my favorite set of all time. But I have a few others, and some guys, when they're a good enough deal, I like to pick them up and keep them. And this might be a card I keep for the long haul, or it might be a card that I use again as some trade equity for something else. Not sure yet, but it was just a beautiful card, and I just saw it and fell in love with it. So I just didn't want to let it go. So CIA auctions, love them. If you get a chance to bid, they're awesome. Jeremy, also the owner of CIA, he sends a nice little handwritten note. Ryan, thank you, enjoy, Jeremy. He does that on every time I've won something. So I don't know if he does that for every lot. If he does, it's a great personal touch. I'm sure they'll get so big one day he won't have that opportunity just because the sheer volume. But yeah, super great folks over there. Love working with them. And then I picked up one more card I want to share. It came this week. This was an eBay purchase. And this is a special one. This is another tough autograph card from it's just not an easy one. It's from the 1967 set. It's a high number. It's not that Tom Seaver I told you about. That would be a beautiful card. I'd love to have it. But this is a 1967 Topps Rod Carew rookie card. He has Hank Allen on it. It's not signed by both, which would be awesome. But, Rod Carew, tremendous ball player, 18-time All-Star, 7-time batting champion, just a wonderful hitter and just a great ball player. Highly underrated, I think, for somebody who has 18 All-Star appearances and 7 batting championships. He doesn't get as much hobby love as you'd expect. Now, the 67 high numbers are tough. They are very difficult. I've seen common cards sell in that $50 to $100 range, depending on condition. And that's just for a common card. So when you're getting a Hall of Fame rookie card, those are tough. This one actually is an exceptional card. It's a 4 with a 10 auto and 2 inscriptions. This is Rod Carew, Hall of Fame 91, 18X All-Star. Now, this is, I think, his post-stroke autograph. So he has a very flowing and different autograph from a few years back, but this is a really cool card. And I'm blessed to have this one. That's one that's going to go in my collection. I don't see myself getting rid of that one. Now, here's an example of his older signature. You can see how it's a little more flowing and just a little bit different. This is his first solo card, the 1968 All-Star Rookie Cup. I'll put a better photo up on the screen. But yeah, this is a great card. That was the card I had representing him in my Hall of Fame collection. So I will keep the rookie card. I may have to sell the Topps All-Star rookie card to, I can't, I wish I could keep every card. I really do, but I can't afford to, so that's what I'm trying to do is work the hobby on a budget. And sometimes I have to buy and sell cards, buy, sell, and trade cards to make that happen. So that's the way I approach this. And, I encourage all of you to try similar things, right? Because most of us have limited hobby budgets. We don't have unlimited amounts of money. So we have to make concessions here and there. We have to buy, sell, trade sometimes. Some people, it's, buy only what you can with the cash flow that you have. Never trade, never sell. That's fine. You have to do what works for you. But this is what I found works for me. So when I have a card that I get a duplicate of, if I can find a stupid good deal on a card, I might have to trade that. That Reggie Jackson pickup, the PSA 610, was a prime example of that. I would love to keep that card in my collection. But when I look at my options, that PSA 310 that I have is still a beautiful card. It looks great. It just has a little bit of edge wear. There's no hard creases. The centering is nice enough. The auto is crisp and clear, and it's just a beautiful card. So when I have to look at which card do I want more in my collection, yes, it's a PSA 6 Auto 10 with a Mr. October inscription, hands down, all day long. But if I could have the PSA 3 and I could have a Bob Gibson rookie auto, which would I take? And I would take the 2 cards over the one every day of the week. And that's the trade-off I have to make. And, there's always trade-offs. So in this case, if I could do that and turn one of my other cards and kind of downgrade in a way, then I'm willing to do that. And there are a few other cards I'm willing to downgrade in my collection, whether it's because I can sell the higher grade and buy another card, or I like the eye appeal of one more, or the autograph on one, I will do that. To me, it's not about what is the highest grade or the most valuable card. It's what's best for my collection. And I've traded cards that were more modern, but like a PSA 9 with a 10 auto or a 10 with a 10 auto to get an authentic because I thought it looked better. And to me, that's what I want. I want the card that brings me the most joy when I look at it, not the card that's going to look best on the ledger when you're talking values. Because if I can trade a card that's worth more and use some of that equity to buy something else or trade for something else, then I need to look into doing that. And that's kind of how I approach this hobby. So that's it. I've got 3 key takeaways here. The binder strategy works. Well, the binder strategy, what is that? Just take some cards with you to your next show. Take some cards that you don't want anymore, some cards that you have duplicates of, or some that you think you might be able to downgrade into something that you like a little better, or that it won't hurt your feelings to downgrade. You could also trade cards that you have now, but are more or less commodity cards that you can pick up on eBay or frequently pick up at other shows so that you can use them to acquire something that is just not as common. There are a lot of signed Reggie Jackson rookie cards out there. There are not nearly as many signed Bob Gibson rookie cards out there. So in this case, I'll trade a higher grade Reggie card for a card that I just can't find very often anywhere else. So that was my strategy here. The other takeaway, the grade isn't everything. Eye appeal matters. And in the case of the 2 Reggie rookies, for me, the eye appeal was comparable with the exception of the inscription. But, I'm fine having that lower grade card. It's still a strong card. It has that connection to the player in history. And that to me is more important than the dollar value or the number on the slab. And then my final one is use that equity that you have to acquire the cards that you want in your collection. In my case, I'm working on the signed Hall of Fame rookie cards. So if I have other cards that don't have as much personal meaning to me, or they're not moving me forward in my collection, then I'm going to look into trading those to something that will have a little more meaning or help me acquire what I need to help me check a few boxes off my list. Yep. That's all I have. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And have you worked trades at shows? If so, I'd love to hear some of the trades that you've made, especially if it's something that's creative or you had a nice win. So love to hear those. If you have comments, I read them all and I try to respond whenever I can. Thank you so much and happy collecting.